everyone. This is Doug Kenny, and I'm with my coach and mentor, Actor Andy McPhee, and we welcome you to Tales from the Mat. And we welcome our next guest, Sam Greco. Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Hey, Sammy.
How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. And it looks like we're watching you from the audience, mate. I've got my popcorn, and you're on the big screen, mate.
Make sure you get a big tub of popcorn. You'll need it.
Yeah, I know, right?
You'll need it.
Hey, Sammy, first of all, just want to say how really great you're looking, after, your health, scare earlier on. And you're looking amazing. Your posts are fantastic. Like, no one would have known what you went through if they didn't know. But when people know, you go, wow, man, what a machine. You're back doing everything. Because you had a heart attack, right, Sammy?
Yeah, I did. I had 2 heart attacks, in fact. I had one, and 15 months later I had another one, which was just the same re-blockage. But I came back from, triple bypass. Life's about choices too, and the choices we make today will impinge on what's happening tomorrow. And I chose to stand up and keep going. And my time here on this face of this earth isn't finished yet.
That's awesome, mate. Like, really, it's such an inspiration when you see your posts on social media. It's terrific. So we're going to chat a bit today about your fighting career, obviously, but your acting career and your pro wrestling career, which is what this is about. And I don't know if a lot of people know you actually it was the WWF in the time.
No.
Or E.
I joined WCW, the World Championship.
Oh, that's right.
Back in late 2000, early 2001. Yeah.
And how long were you there for?
I signed a 3-year deal with the organisation. And I was there for just over a year and a bit. And then the company folded it. It got bought out by WWF at the time, which is now WWE.
Mm.
So I was there for about 14 months or so.
Okay. Now, Can I ask you, what was, like, we all know that, or those that don't, they should, but you're a world champion fighter. You're training amazing young men in Australia. You've been through the ropes. What's the difference between working as a wrestler, where you're allowing people in a sense to do what they want with your body to a point, whereas in real stuff you're not. You're there to take them out, win, and get out the ring. So what was the difference for you in the physical training and what you had to do with pro wrestling?
Well, first of all, I'll answer your first question. What is the difference between what I did in K1, full contact fighting, as opposed to wrestling? In what I did as a professional career, it was me versus my opponent, and that was it. It's about it's like playing chess. It's about making the guy make a mistake and checkmate, put him out, either KO or wherever it may be. Whereas wrestling showed me the entertainment side of things, and it was me and you versus the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the best way to explain what it is, and that was the difference. You know yourself, storyline. You've got a heel, you've got a baby face. We've got to work it. There's a few things that you got to work on, and you got to be able to sell. And that was the biggest thing. It taught me about wrestling taught me about entertainment more so than what K1. To be honest,
yeah,
it taught me how to back myself out of that ring. How to sell.
And you do get some people think that you don't actually get hurt. Well, you don't intentionally want to get hurt, but it takes a lot of toll on your body, like a lot.
I'll call it firsthand. I'll put my hand up for this. I've always loved wrestling as a kid. It's, I used to get up and watch TV ringside boxing. I used to watch the wrestling here in Melbourne on Saturday mornings and on Friday nights. And I loved it so much that I used to practice jumping off my bed and everything else. And I've always get involved in it. And it just added another dynamic when I did. And it makes you appreciate what these guys do. They're athletes in their own world. They're athletes. They've got to be agile to do what they do. All the bumps, all the falls, the blood, that's all real. Don't kid yourself. That's all real. As you know yourself, that's all real. Yes, it is a work. Yeah. And it's about me protecting you and you protecting me. As opposed to what I did with K1, it was the opposite. So yeah, look, it is real. For those that think it's fake, there might be a storyline, and that's the fake side to it. But all the bumps, falls, punches, they're real. You can easily potato someone if you're not careful.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, look, and my wrestling career started after I left judo, and my wrestling career ended up starting my acting career, which then evolved around 30 years of acting. And then my kids got into acting through myself, and I coached and mentored them for many years. And because of that, like you said before, making choices with what goes on within inside of you, the kids were successful. One's pulled out and she's concentrating on singing, and Cody's traveling around America, promoting his new film Power of the Dog, and there's talk that he may get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And I'm thinking, well, that's just because I went and started a professional wrestling career, because it wouldn't have happened without that,
Yeah.
And you know what? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and Cody's doing a remarkable job. And and as a father, I know as a parent, you always want your kids to do better than what you ever did. And you always guide them. And I think he's a remarkable example of what's happening.
Yeah. Well, actually, can I not agree? I don't want him to do better than me, Sammy.
I know he is, mate.
I'm lying.
You know that
I'm lying.
He's better than you. But you know what? When he has kids, and if he eventually has kids, gets married and has kids, or whatever, doesn't get married and have kids, irrespective, because it really doesn't matter these days. And they decide to follow his footsteps, he'll want the same for his kids also.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And this is the first time he's been really, really excited with the acknowledgement, because a lot of, like you said, same behind the pro wrestling scene. Yes, it's all great, but people don't understand at times just the journey of, like, it can be stressful being a young kid, missing out in your teen years, becoming an actor, and people looking at you in a different way than you're really the same guy, but you're doing amazing stuff. And he missed out on a lot, but he also gained a lot, like traveling the world and meeting people. And it really taught him a lot about himself, and we only did it for fun, like just for fun. That's all we did it for. And it ended up like this, which is amazing,
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, and when I look at Cody now, I remember him as a really young kid. He had a great stepping block in front of him, and it was you. And so he had something to fall on if it all went sour too. He had that was actually needed. A lot of potential wannabe actors or people that want to get into acting haven't got that. They've got to start raw. He did start raw, but had that little bit of experience through you, and the guidance. And until this very day, I think you'll always guide him irrespective, So both.
Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah, it's like, it'd be like you with your boxing proteges, and training guys like that. Like they really do have a great coach behind them, and it means a lot when you got someone who really cares about what you're doing, not just where you want to go and be the champion, but really cares about you. That really helps support them, knowing that they're in safe hands,
It's funny you say that. I was having this conversation with one of my UFC boys yesterday, who we're fighting December the 4th in Vegas this year.
Oh, wow.
I said to him, we were discussing something. We came to a disagreement. And I said to him, stop. I said, I've lived my life in terms of my career. I've done everything. I've fulfilled everything I have to. It's about you. I'm not living my life through your eyes at the moment. So drop that. I'm worried about you and how you perform. And I want you to do the best. I've done mine already. So there's a lot of coaches out there. It's interesting you say that. There's a lot of coaches out there that can't let go of not competing, can't let go of not acting, and want to live their life through a particular person's eyes. That particular person, irrespective whether it's a fighter or an actor, has a unique ability. Don't destroy it by trying to add yours to it.
Yeah.
Trying to make it they're not really good at.
So true. So true.
Than what we could have. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest things I found.
Dougie, questions, mate?
Yeah. So, Sam, what began your wrestling career? Was it a funny accident, or did it happen by choice?
As much as I said to you before, it's something I've always wanted to do as a young kid. I really admired wrestlers. It was over an injury. I had a massive fracture through my right shin, obviously because we leg kick a lot. So over the years, I just incurred this really big, it was virtually about a 10 centimetre crack right through my shin. And it caused some flexion through my shin. So every time I kicked someone, it caused flexion in my leg. And it felt like it was going to snap. And I went to see the medical department, and they looked at it and x-rayed it and put me through a scan. And they said, listen, we know you've been in sport for so long, but if you are to prolong it, you need to take a break for at least 6 to 12 months. And I thought, what the hell? Why 6 to 12 months? They said, it's a fairly severe fracture or crack through it. Unless you're willing to risk it and keep going, you're going to end up with a rod in your leg. So, I weighed up whether I wanted to continue. I weighed up whether I wanted a rod in my leg or not. And definitely I didn't want any foreign objects in my body. And I decided to take 6 to 12 months off, which extended out to 12 months. The organisation wasn't happy with me, even though I was coming out of contract anyway. This is the kickboxing organisation. But it was during that time that I was wrestling. A good friend of mine who had links with the WCW asked me if I wanted to wrestle. And as a childhood dream, I said yes straight off the cuff. And they gave me contacts. I didn't think anything was going to eventuate from it until I made that point of contact in America. And the guy I was speaking to in America was no other than, the late Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. Yeah. Everyone knows Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, and he's the man that took me on. He's the man that was my mentor and wrestling coach and a phenomenal athlete, I must say.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's so good. Sammy, I know Doug's got another question, and you'll never remember this because we didn't know each other then, but I was training at the underground gym. Underworld, that's right, Underworld Gym, and I'm sitting doing whatever I'm doing, and you're in the other room, and I think it might have been Gatto was there, and but you were talking about pro wrestling. I went, what? He's a pro wrestler? I could hear you talking about, going to the States, WWW, whatever it was. I went, oh, wow. And I so wanted to say something because I was wrestling at the time, but I thought, I don't know these guys, and I don't think they're the sort of guys I'm going to interrupt because you both looked a bit scary. It was funny. But yeah, that's where that would have been right back. I think just when you just maybe started because you were maybe heading over there or something, Yeah,
well, that would have been probably 2001 because it was interesting the way I got involved. Once I got involved in the wrestling, I was there for about 6 months. And like I said, I signed a 3-year deal, but then I had a call from our great friend, Richard Norton. And he was after a guy by the name of Randy Savage, who used to wrestle with WCW, big name.
Yep.
But he was on the set. Randy was on the set of Spider-Man at the time in LA. And they wanted his contact because they wanted him to audition for Scooby-Doo the movie. So I got hold of his manager and gave him a contact, but I did say to him, I said, look, guys, you're probably going to have trouble because he is on the set of Spider-Man, so I doubt that he'd come off just to do a Scooby-Doo movie. And even though Scooby-Doo was a big budget movie, over $100 million, so it was fairly big then. And while in the same conversation, the same breath, they said, well, if he doesn't come through, he goes, would you audition for it? And me stupidly said, yeah, I would, because we had at WCW, we had our own film studios there, so I could do whatever I wanted, which was fantastic. And I took it upon myself to go in, and I remember wearing a white sort of Bonds singlet, and I had to sort of play this Mexican wrestler. So I tried the best Mexican accent that I possibly could. And, I did it, recorded it and sent it off. And 2 days later, I got a call from Australia saying, hey, you've got the part. My jaw nearly fell on the ground. I thought, shit, I was so excited getting the part, in such a feature movie, which still today is doing extremely well,
Oh, yeah.
20 years later, we're still doing well and watched all over the world. That now I thought to myself, wow, that's fantastic, but I've got a bigger problem. And the bigger problem is I've just signed a 3-year deal. How do I go to the organisation and say, hey, I just got a part in a major movie, right? So, look, I sort of bit down on my mouth guard, so to speak, or my lip, and thought, you know what, I better approach WCW. So I went to see the president at the time, and he was a mad martial arts fan, and he's the guy that signed me. And I said to him, "Look, this is the scenario. This is what's happened." And he was ecstatic. He applauded the fact that I got this role, and he goes, "That's fantastic." And he says, "But one of the things that we're going to do, we're about to release you on TV in the next couple of weeks." And I thought, "Oh God, it's my time to shine." And he says, "But hey, that's no problem." He says, "I think life's about opportunities and what you do with them, right?" He says, "It is a major movie." He says, "You'll be an idiot if you don't go ahead." He goes, "What about we allow you to go?" And I said, "But I'll be away for 3 months." He says, "We allow you to go. And when you come back, we'll release you on TV." Right? And I thought,
Wow.
Well, music to my ears, and they gave it to me in writing. And, I had a no-fire contract anyway at the time, so it didn't matter. So I went to Australia. They allowed me to go to Australia to film this Scooby-Doo. And then while I was there for the last, I think it was about the 2.5 month mark, I get a call from a friend of mine who was at WCW. He says, "You wouldn't believe what's just happened." I said, "What's that?" He said, "The company's gone belly up." I go, "What?"
Wow.
Said, no. So, yeah.
Gosh. Well, lucky you did it, Sammy.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so it sort of was. It was meant to be. It was meant to be. So I was still with the company, still getting paid until it all fell through, officially. And then WWE or WWF at the time decided to pay absolute peanuts for people's contracts. And I just said, stick it where it fits. I'm not going, And I ended up going back to kickboxing anyway.